All right, we are live. Hello, everybody.
Hey everyone.
Oh, we see we got people in the chat. We got Dave, we got Jay again, of course. I think I saw some other peeps too. Yeah, cool. Hope everything is well. We should be in a fairly good mood now that the market is kind of moving a little bit.
Depends if you're all in cash or not.
Don't push my buttons, bro. I'm still in cash. No, not really, actually. It's been placed elsewhere. Either way. Yes, Jay, welcome to the stream. Let's put that up on the screen there. See, you guys, the more you guys talk, the more stuff we bring up on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, I'm not going to share that, Dave. Don't worry. All right, cool. So again, welcome back to the TA Monday stream. We did talk about some stuff that we want to go back over and look at from last stream. We talked about Solana. I think we chose to talk a lot about Solana last time because there was such a big pump in comparison to everything else. And we sort of missed out a little bit on the Bitcoin side. So we're starting with the Bitcoin part now. And we'll jump back a little bit and just see what our predictions, if our predictions were true for the Solana side. We don't like to do predictions again, but the whole point of TA is to make predictions.
Yeah.
Just everybody who's watching, remember, it's just our opinions. You do your own TA, and we will happily teach you how to do your own TA, make your own decisions, all these things. Just subscribe and make sure that you follow our courses that we're creating right now. So hopefully don't miss out on that. Either way, by the way, I'm joined by Rob as usual. I can't live without Rob. He makes me feel alive.
Oh, you make me feel alive too.
Oh yes, I'm important to someone. Cool. All right. So first off, I just want to reiterate what's on my screen right here. Let's see if this. No, actually, let's do this one. If it's too small on the screen, everybody just let me know. I'll try to zoom in a bit more, but this one has to be kind of a zoomed out view. So first of all, let's look at the Bitcoin chart. So I'm zoomed out right now, all the way back to the previous bull market top and the previous bear market bottom. And we also have the COVID dip here, or COVID crash, which kind of was just an anomaly, in my opinion. However, we did pull a Fibonacci retracement from that weekly close to the weekly close at the very peak of our previous peak, and it gave us these levels. And it's been following, Bitcoin has been following these, especially up here. It bounced on it pretty hard, came back down, created this long-term trend line right here. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit more here. Whoops. So we created this long-term trend line right here, and that was in at the end of March in 2022. And now we're coming back to retest this for the first time in almost a year, which means that this is going to be most likely huge resistance, right? And it's also lining up, and this is why I have the super trend on here. This is the red area here with the green here. This is the weekly, by the way. So we're looking at this. We've been under this super trend, weekly super trend, for a very long time, basically since the top. And now we're coming in, and it's lining up, and it has been lining up with the downtrending line as well, for the most part. So that means to me, double weekly resistance, long-term weekly resistance is going probably to be pretty rough to get through. But we'll zoom in a little bit here too. I also drew this descending wedge that I know Rob also agrees with me that these usually break out to the top.
Yeah, I think if there's one pattern that I really enjoy, it's descending wedges for Bitcoin. It is very reliable as something that's probably not going to break down from that downtrend.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I believe that there's like a 72% chance of it breaking up or something like that, and at around 70% of being through it, which I suppose we're kind of at that point right now, which speaks for the bullish scenario, right?
Yeah, I always wonder how they come to those percentages and how they'd hold up in different markets. But yeah, as a if I was going to guess how often they break bullish, that would be my kind of guess.
Yeah. Investopedia.com has a lot of information on these things where you can look at kind of numbers and stuff, if I remember correctly. But GA is kind of about generalizing to a large degree, like what is the general outcome of this thing, and that's kind of how you make your predictions and your assessments, right? So I tend to kind of use the standard numbers just to, I don't want to just make up my own number, right? But either way, so this is the weekly again, and we did break through this. We made this trend line before in the last stream. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to bring you into. Actually, I want to go back to the weekly. I just realized I forgot something that is pretty bullish. Here down at the RSI, we have a downtrending line that is all the way back from here. And we've just broken through this. I know Kevin Svensson was talking about this too. And it's actually just now testing. I'm going to see if I can actually bring this up to full screen. So you can see how the middle line here has just been broken as well, which means we're back into like bullish territory on the weekly. However, are we going to stay there or not? Who knows? But this would be considered a retest of the middle line there. And this breakout of the line is pretty... in my opinion, is pretty a bullish scenario. It's not bad. This doesn't happen often, right? It's after bear market type stuff.
There's a very sort of clear line, and we're actually coming right up to it now. If you sort of plot if you put about 55 on the horizontal, on the RSI,
we can bring up your. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, bring my screen up there. So I've just got it put on here.
Okay, great. Let's do that
and
instead. It's easier.
It's kind of a bit of a range. It's sort of 55 to 60, but it works very well as a... Hang on, let me just make this. I hate it when it makes it purple. Don't make it purple.
Yeah, you can full screen it too.
Yeah. So yeah, it does tend to give a very good, when we're above the 55 or around this 55 to 60 sort of range, we tend to stay above it. 2017 we were above it. 2019 we blew above it, and then it was only when we came sort of below it, we spent a significant time above it, a bit below it, broke up. We had the whole of the bear market, and admittedly, this is a trend which hasn't necessarily held as much in the past few years as previous bull markets, where it was, a very sort of strong level to hold. But it's just it should be worth noting that we're not out of the woods yet. There are multiple indicators here saying that there's potentially more, maybe not more pain to come, but these are big resistances. This is a level which we shouldn't underestimate.
Yep, for sure. Well, let's see. Let's head back to this one. So with this said, I'm going to remove this line, or else I'm going to mess up my stuff here. I'm going to jump into the daily on Bitcoin as well here. And in our last stream, I'm also going to remove the super trend because that is useless right now. We were talking about breaking this line, and we were looking at this candle specifically right here on the line, I believe. And I remember me saying, oh, it's tiny. Because it was tiny at the time. And we were like, okay, if this breaks out, we might see something like this. And this is breaking a trend line that is, it's not a short-term trend line at all. It's
was that April?
No, this is March, end of March 2022.
Yeah.
Well, fine. 28th. But either way, it's anchored right here on the FTX crash, right? Before that crash, it was anchored right here, sort of. And we had this move through, and it was a small pump there, but let's keep it here. So we broke through this thing, and I think we said that might mean that we're going to see a bit of a rally up. And lo and behold, there it is. The problem here right now is,
as well.
yeah, it's not a small rally. It's a significantly, just from the trend line and up, we have to where the price topped out was 26.24%, which is not you know, a little bit.
No,
It's a lot,
no.
especially at this current like market sentiment, right? Some of the problems I'm seeing here, though, is that we're getting close to this trend line, the long-term trend line, which is going to be a pretty hard piece to get through. And then we also have, I'm going to just, let's see, there we go. The RSI on the daily is hilariously, overbought.
Yeah.
It has not been up at 90, which it is at right now, 90, since we were back here in January 2021, where we hit 89 or 90 actually, at 89 point something, and that was at this point here before the peak. So
it's kind of for kind of say the thing to think about there is that the equivalent bearish RSI move would be 10 or 12 on the RSI, and I don't know the last time we hit 10 on the RSI. So it's kind of,
Yep.
but we really do need to just be aware that this is extremely fast move, and it was a short squeeze. Ultimately, is that why this happened was just too much bearish sentiment for too long.
Yeah,
the bears did what the bulls do. They got euphoric. They got over extended, and then when it started pumping, they doubled down, and then doubled down, and then they have to choose between getting liquidated or taking the hit.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't even know I have the MACD open, but it's there. It's beginning to show some. It's
some
beginning some toppy signs. Yeah. But what I wanted to get to, and it's actually funny, since we started the stream, Bitcoin has moved to $200. I think.
Yeah.
It's even more, 400, almost $400 since we started the stream, which is funny because I guess it's because of us. It's because of Crypto Talks.
Oh yeah.
No other reason whatsoever.
Our wide reach, and
maybe we should stream every day then, right? Just do Bitcoin TA every day and just see it pump. But either way, we're getting off track a little bit. So yeah, we've seen this pump up here. We're above this I think it's 0.5 Fibonacci. Yeah, 0.5 Fibonacci level. And we're above 20K. Now, we've hit this resistance right here, though. I'm going to make a horizontal ray, actually. So you see, this is kind of acting as a top right now, or a resistance right now. And it makes sense, right? And looking at this, we talked briefly, you and I, Rob, before the stream, and we said, this is forming a cup and handles, right? Potentially.
Well, we have a cup. Let's see.
Yeah, we have the cup. The handle would be something like this, right? Kind of, and that would also be a good thing, because what we need to see here is either Bitcoin go up and end up somewhere in this area. I'm actually going to make a little box there. So if we were to close within that box somewhere on Bitcoin, if Bitcoin could close this week inside this box, somewhere above or below the trend line, preferably above, right? We could see this kind of small or breakout, or at least a retest of this line happening. But if it stops here and we move down to do this to create the cup and handles, the good thing about that is that the cup and handles will reset many of the indicators, or most of the indicators, fairly quickly, because it's kind of like a downtrend where the RSI just starts turning down. MACD starts going back to kind of do this move where it comes down and wants to go red, but then turns back again. That is potentially something we could see. Personally, I'm hoping for it, because that means I can buy in at lower prices.
And that's the question. That's the question, though. How many people are waiting for the pullback versus how many people are taking profits? Because if you've got people that are sat waiting for the pullback and the pullback doesn't come, the people who are currently taking profits at resistance, they'll stop taking profits. They'll go, nope, I see buying pressure. I see further move upwards. If we see a pullback and we see strength, then yeah, this is how uptrends form. This is how these explosive moves form, because everybody spent a whole year getting out of the market, and when they try to rush back in, there's not enough Bitcoin to go around.
Precisely. And I would like to place a support line on 20, a psychological support line, somewhere around here, because that is basically, I wouldn't say it's like an area here where we created some some good volume at least. So if we were to
re-
see this handle forming, I would like to see it bounce on the 20K. Not that I think it will. I think it might go all the way down
I
here.
think it would go under, because what I would love to see, what I'm really, really waiting for a kind of be ready to buy, is that we'll never see Bitcoin below 20,000 again.
Oh yeah,
That's the word, and it's and if you go back to 2018, it was we'll never see Bitcoin below 6,000 again. 2019, we'll never see Bitcoin below 10,000 again. And the market will make that kind of, and if we get excessive euphoria, the market will make those people pay for.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I said, these are the three scenarios that I can see that might be forming. Obviously, there's a fourth one, which is this. I don't. I personally, I mean, it's not wrong.
If that was going to come, it would probably be after one of the other three scenarios.
Yes, but it also means that these arrows pointing to these lines here, that is a retest for me, which means that you could go and retest and then go, right? Same here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if this breaks through, though, if it does break through, that's scenario number, like we got 1, 2, 3 scenarios, and then we have number 4, which is the bullish one. That if it breaks through this, and it starts moving, the next level would be somewhere around 25.3, somewhere around here at the top of this fib level, which is something where this is a range. I keep talking about ranges, and this is what I mean. We have this range here, right, that is working in. We came down here. I was expecting to see all the way down to the golden pocket, and I'm not gonna lie, that is still a huge possibility that we might see Bitcoin just doing this thing, testing out this line, coming down to the golden pocket before anything happens. But this would still be considered sideways move during 2023. Like, we could move between this fib level and this fib level, the golden pocket bottom, for the entire year. Personally,
2 years,
I want
3 years.
Yeah, personally, I would like that, because that means me as more experienced and someone who's already into Bitcoin means that I can get into it more. I can accumulate more. So for all of you, I can see Imre's here too. Hi, Imre. For everyone who's here, and I know Jay, Imre, and Dave, they would probably enjoy sitting sideways as well. And I think, Rob, you would probably like that too, because we want to accumulate more, right? There's probably a whole lot of traders that were super happy about buying this and then selling here and waiting for that dump. But personally, I just want more of it, and I'm not waiting for this pump, right? I'm waiting for this type of move.
And that type of move is not going to come overnight. That we're not in a world where that type of move is happening. And barring something absolutely monumental, like the USA declares bankruptcy, or China implodes and every single Chinese citizen decides that they need $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Well, there's no setup for that kind of move to really happen. That's not to say that this sort of continued short squeeze can't take things further. And I've been saying this to people for a year or 6 months at least. Max Payne is not directly down. Max Payne from here, and we're starting to maybe see this. To me, Max Payne is, let's see a $40,000 Bitcoin, or say the 36,000 up at that fib level. Let's see that, and then let's see it roll all the way back down to 17, 18, 12K. 19. Or 12,
that is pain.
But that is pain. Even if this was the ultimate bottom, though, to go from say 40 down to 20, then it's very possible, and it's not something that people really do need to not FOMO. And not financial advice. I'm not going to go and tell people that if it breaks and goes directly up into $100,000 tomorrow or next week or next month, yes, guess what? I was wrong. Everything I know about this market says that's not going to happen.
We can be wrong too. We're just two dudes that enjoy this stuff. Okay, and just making that clear to everybody.
20, 30, 40% pullbacks in a bull market aren't unlikely. So in a bear market, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just gonna measure from this point down here, up here, and let's say it wants to dump down to here, that's 11%. dumping down to the golden pocket bottom. That's 40%. That's 39%. Sorry.
See, maybe without a blow up of, say, Genesis, without DCG imploding, that could be a catalyst to do this. If that doesn't happen, we don't know if it's going to happen, then yeah, maybe we've had the bottom or close to it.
Yeah.
There's no fundamental reason that Bitcoin has to dump 40%, the same as there's no fundamental reason it has to pump 100% in the next week.
Yeah, so we can just wait and see. The prediction we did last week worked out pretty well. And that was barring that this was cracked, this line.
Yeah.
And it did, and then we had this. And now we're saying the same thing. If this line is cracked, we might see some kind of pump after that. Might.
I hate that we're saying it, but the answer is could go up, could go down, could go sideways.
Yes. That's the thing with the markets, fellas. You can do all the TA in the world, but the market will do what the market does. It will go either up or down or sideways. Sorry, it's just the way it is. This is why TA is so fun too, because you can do all these things. You can discuss with your friends. You can figure these things out. And by the way, if you want to do that, join us on Discord. We're sitting there very much every day, just talking about this stuff continuously. Like Rob, me, everybody. I see Jay in there every day. Dave is there often.
If we're not in there, then give us a ping and often
we'll pop in. Yeah, for sure. We can't stop. Like the thing is, we do these daily shows for 30 minutes every day. Okay.
Yeah.
On the weekends, on the other hand, and I'm gonna just do some PR for us here, or some ads, unpaid ads. But we do on Saturday. We're gonna do a show with G from Collecti, who he interviewed us before when we were working on a crypto project, and he's a great guy. He's so much fun. He's so knowledgeable, and he knows so many things he's so fun to discuss with. So we're probably going to sit down with him, and we've said, we're going to do it for 2 hours every Saturday. We're going to have a live guest, right, on the show. And if we do 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, doesn't matter. We're going to stick around until we're done talking, basically. So if you guys want to be in on that, please join the chat for that. And we might even be able to bring somebody in into this space here. If you have a lot of cool questions, we might be able to bring you in here. But we'll see how that goes. But either way, don't miss out on Saturday. It's the same time as this starts, 8 p.m. CET. We're going to do a long form stream where we just talk about stuff, all these things, the whole markets, everything. Either way, I think we're pretty much done with what we're seeing on Bitcoin here for now. The predictions are there. We'll see our predictions. The guessing is there. And we'll see how that unfolds. I did want to zoom into the 4 hourly though, just real quick on this before I leave it. We've seen on the 4 hourly, we've seen some bull flags forming. We got this one here, and now we have a bigger one forming, which is kind of going. I guess that's a pendant almost, because it's kind of trending upwards. Or is it?
Pennant flag, they mean the same thing.
yeah, but it's But we're seeing kind of the same thing, but in a larger format here. So there's more consolidation here. There's more, and we're currently seeing the past 8 hours we've been actually pumping a little bit. So
we're seeing these progressive short squeezes play out, so that the market pumps up, the liquidity is drained at that region essentially as people get squeezed out of their positions. The market then consolidates, expecting to come back down, right? And then when it doesn't come back down because buyers are stepping in, as I said, those people who are selling, they just go, nope, pull the order. There's enough buy pressure to keep the price going up.
Yeah, you're roboting a little bit there, Rob, but I think we caught most of that. No, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. It's you're right. I caught all that, and I think everyone else did too. You just sounded cool. You sounded like C3PO.
Is it better now?
Not really, but it'll sort itself out. It does. It sorts itself out pretty fast. It usually does. Either way, so I'm looking at this, and I've actually opened the Bollinger Bands on this one. And what we've seen here is just a small little bounce on the middle line on the Bollinger. I like the Bollinger Bands for the most part because I feel like it's very easy to see a continuation of an uptrend looking at the Bollinger Bands, which is basically just the top here. For those of you who don't know, the top 95% of the trading happens within these these bands here, these blue lines, and the top one acts as resistance, the bottom one acts as support, and the middle line acts as both, depending on which way it's hitting it. So right now, back here, we saw a bounce. We're seeing a bounce here right now. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to pump hard, but it means that it might try to reach the top, right? And this is in the 4 hourly. If we go to the daily with the Bollinger Bands, we're completely outside of it still. So that also suggests that we're going to have this kind of pullback here that we talked about earlier, pull back into this area right here, because it wants to meet up and retest this middle line. Now the Bollinger Band isn't some kind of magic super indicator or anything, but it's just a very nice indicator, in my opinion, that I like to look at. So that's one of the reasons why I'm expecting this kind of cup and handle to kind of form here, and then we'll see what that does. So yes, quickly jump onto Solana because we made some predictions there too. They all played out. We were talking about this range. For those of you who remember, we put this range up here because I was talking about how I look for ranges to accumulate using fib levels and kind of between support and resistance lines and so forth. And we got into it. We got above here. I think we were right here when we did the video. We were in this area here. Zoom in here. This was forming at the time of the video, I believe. Monday. Yeah, we were right here. We got above this line. This was where I said there would be resistance. As soon as we cracked above this, it pumped straight up into it. And now we're kind of playing around inside of it. So now this is kind of building more volume on this level. It's not much volume here at all. It's just from here. But it also kind of shows that this top of this range that I made, I said, if I remember correctly, that the top of this range will be where the resistance is, the harder resistance, because that's where you have all these bottoms here and all this here. And it seems like that's playing out right now as well.
Yeah. So the reason for the extremeness of the move is because of the extremity of the move downwards.
Yeah, precisely.
On the daily, to go from essentially overbought on the RSI to oversold, to spend what we got 2 months sideways, basically at oversold, 80% dump within that time at the end of a bear market. That's going to mean
painful.
It doesn't mean we're in a bull market. This is not a bullish setup yet.
No, not yet.
It's a relief rally from a bearish trend, and until it reverses the trend, it's bearish. And this is again, not financial advice. This is a take profit scenario if you've been buying low, if you're a trader, because the technicals do not scream this is going to carry on running for another 200%. If we're wrong, then the technicals need to change and need to show, it needs to have, as you say, that we have a bull flag below this resistance, we then break through the resistance, we then retest the resistance as support, and then move higher. At that point, maybe at the same price, $23, the chart suddenly looks far more bullish than it currently does.
Yeah. And I want to say this too. This trend line right here is the trend line that we broke on Bitcoin. This one, that's that trend line. It's the same trend line.
We have that trend line forming all over the place.
So we need to try to finish this off. So what I want to say before we finish this is, number one, as fun as TA is, it is just one part of 4 major parts of doing analysis on your assets before you invest or before you do whatever you want to do with it. TA is like the last frontier. You should treat it as the last frontier before you make a decision. For example, if you want to get into, let's say, Solana, for example, or Bitcoin, do your fundamental analysis first so you understand what it is that you're actually buying, right? We're going to make lessons on this too, or videos on this too, explaining how to do this. Next one is you look at the macro perspective and the on-chain perspective, the metrics and all that, so that you have a good understanding before you start trading the asset. This is just the last frontier, and it's the most fun one to do, in my opinion. But it's also the one that gives you the most FOMO, that gives you the most anxiety, because you're sitting here looking at this and you're like, oh, damn, should I buy now or wait for it to go up? Or, you're sitting there just freaking out. Don't do that. So I'm going to finish this off right now. So everybody, thanks for coming. We'll see you tomorrow, I hope. Otherwise, don't forget Saturday, make sure you subscribe.
Yeah.
And leave a like as well, and then also make sure to put that notification on. And that's it for today. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.